Alright, so today we're going to make a quick video featuring my John Deere 420 tractor, which is mostly original. It's a 44 loader. Came with a Chinese import carburetor, which I've had all kinds of problems with, so today we're going to swap it out for the original. Alright, so now we're in here. Basically we're going to take this one off, which sadly requires a lot of this tin coming off as well, because you can't get at the manifold bolts, or at least if there's a way to do it, I'm not familiar with it. So I'm going to start taking this thing apart. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention, as you can see, I've got a couple of these carburetors. This is the original carburetor, or original to the tractor. It's a Nikki I, made in Japan. You can see I've got a bunch of import carburetors because of continuing problems and the fact that they're so inexpensive. Actually, this carburetor I bought on eBay. Second day I had it, tractor wouldn't run right. It's because the float sunk. Seller sent me another one, which is still in the box, and then I have the one that's on the tractor. The problem that I have with it is surging, and it's really, I think, based on ethanol fuel, because if I start with a good carburetor, or a really clean carburetor, and good fresh fuel, I have no problems. But after it sits for a while, regardless of using stabilizer or two-stroke oil or anything else in the fuel, I end up with a serious surging problem. And as a result of that, I have to take the engine apart, clean the carburetor, and basically what's happening is I'm getting these deposits on these carburetors that are very difficult to clear out, and they're blocking the small passages, and it just, it's not running correctly. So I'm going to try going back to the carburetor that's supposed to be on the tractor and see if we have any better luck. Okay, I wanted to add one point. I've got a Sharper Tech heated ultrasonic cleaner. So when I say that I've been through these things and I clean them, they'll spend a couple of hours in that tank at a very high temperature and come out spotless. It's just, I can't keep doing this. Okay. Here we are at the point where we've got the intake manifold and the carburetor out. Pain in the neck, this tractor, the way that it's designed. I would imagine it'd be easier if I took the whole muffler off of there and took off the front tins, but can't be bothered with that. So going over to the bench, here's the carburetor and the manifold. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a fair comparison, because my gaskets, as you can see, were on the verge of falling apart, so probably had some air leaks there, which certainly wasn't helping anything. Although that wouldn't explain how the performance would improve with the carburetor being cleaned and the same gaskets being in place. I also noticed a couple of loose bolts as I was taking off the intake manifold. Now, I had that off myself probably 6 months ago. Didn't Loctite the bolts in, and I'm going to do that this time because they're just a little looser than I expected them to be. More importantly, though, check out the carburetor base gasket, right? The new gasket that came with the import carburetor, and then take a look at the OEM gasket, right, which has got a hole in it for that adjustment, that air screw. So these carburetors have been running with the gasket covering up that hole the whole time. Just ridiculous. I didn't notice that before, but I'm sure that's also going to cause all kinds of problems. So I'm going to have to, since I don't have an OEM gasket, I'm going to have to take this one and cut a hole in it as I prepare to put my new carburetor on. Here's a quick shot inside the import carburetor that I've been running with. And this was running okay today, so it didn't get to the point where it was problematic again. And for the most part, it's reasonably clean in there. However, I have been running pretty recent fuel, been burning a lot of it through lately, and it is stabilized. So here's another interesting thing. In getting ready to put this back together, I talked about these gaskets not having the hole for that. However, the intake manifold doesn't have anything related to that either. So I'm not sure what the story is, and to keep this fair, I'm going to put it back without cutting a hole. And I'll also note that I'm putting it back together with new intake manifold gaskets, so that will be an advantage over the falling apart ones that I took out of there. Okay, so some time has gone by here, but as you can see, I've got that original carburetor back on there. I've replaced the fuel line while I was at it, because the other one's starting to get a little bit old. New gasket, I didn't put the hole in it, and you can see I don't have all the tins on yet, but I hooked up the choke cable and I connected the grounds just because I want to see if it runs before I go through and put everything else together. And I'm going to admit I cheated and I turned the key once already, but here we go. Alright, seems good for now. So the battery died at the end of that last video, but the tractor started up, seems to be running fine. I'll test it out on a warmer day. Now I've got 3 import carburetors, so this is the one that was on there, was running okay. This is the one that was originally on the tractor when I got it. The replacement float, or the float that sunk, and then the in the box untouched carburetor. So I've got enough carburetors for God knows how long. Hopefully we get better performance out of that original one. So that's it for now. Thanks everybody. Hopefully somebody got something of value out of this. Take care. It's been a while since I did that last video. I got a bucket full of firewood here. Let's see how this thing runs in the snow. Probably not the best of ideas, but I got to move this stuff up to the house. circumstances, I'm going to call that pretty successful. That's you know, the original carburetor, not original to the machine, but the one that's supposed to be on there, which was an eBay purchase. You know, barely cleaned it, didn't run it through the ultrasonic tank. You know, looked pretty decent, so I took a chance to put it back on there. It's been sitting for at least 3 or 4 weeks since I did the swap, and that would have caused the China carburetors to have a lot of issues. This one seems to be alright, so we'll see how it goes in the springtime, but so far so good. Thanks, guys.